Hello guys, welcome to Not On My Watch. Today I have another watch review. We are looking at the Jour Hammerhead GMT. This is the LJ-HH-GMT-002 with the blue dial and the blue bezel. It does come in a few different variants, but this is the particular one that I got, and let's get into the review. Okay guys, so let's take a closer look at this watch. We will start with the diameter. It is a 42mm case with a 48mm lug-to-lug, which is quite short due to the shape of this case. The height of this watch is 14mm, so it's quite thick. It is quite a chunky watch, and then we have a lug width of 20mm. So if you take a closer look at this dial, we can see that it has this kind of canvas texture to it, which is quite cool. I've not seen many dials like this, and it's pretty beautiful. You also see that it has a fume effect. So the dial, I think, is really beautiful. What I don't like about the dial is the red accents. Red and blue to me doesn't always work together. Sometimes it does, like Pepsi. Rolex Pepsi is one of my favorite watches of all time, but this deep blue with this red, for me, it's not 100%. I would like to see a different color than the red, but that's just my opinion. So if you look at the text on the dial, we have the Jour logo at 12 o'clock, and on the 6 o'clock it says automatic, and then GMT in red, as I said, and on the bottom we obviously see Swiss made. And I quite like the indices of this watch. You have this normal round ones, but on 12, 3, 6 and 9 you have this square block, which I think looks pretty nice. And the hands, I like the minute hand. Don't know what to think about this hour hand. The GMT hand is fine, I would prefer a different color, but the seconds hand is, I don't know if you can even see it, like it's almost invisible. It's just a straight line of stainless steel, and it's quite hard to spot, which isn't a big issue. You don't always need to see the seconds, but I would like some kind of like a little round tip with some lume in it or something, but it's not a big thing. But I would prefer to have a slightly more visible seconds hand, and also one with lume on it, so you could see the seconds in low lighting, even though it doesn't matter at all. I like to see it ticking away with the lume. Outside the dial we find a sapphire crystal. This is slightly domed, and it has anti-reflective coating both on the outside and the inside. Outside we find a bidirectional bezel with a ceramic insert with lume, so that is really nice. The action on the bezel, it feels a little cheap, but not that cheap. Like, it's okay, it's decent. It's not like turning a Rolex GMT Master, but not that bad. There is no play, and it does line up perfectly as far as I can see. If we take a closer look at the lume, it is Superluminova C3, and I will show you 10 minutes of lume on the camera. As you can see, it has quite a lot of lume. I like that the bezel is lumed, and there's no lume to the seconds hand, as I've explained, but the rest of the lume is pretty good. I can't really complain, and I think the lume is pretty good, and that it has lume in the bezel makes it, you know, light up really well, and it lasts for you know, a fair amount of time. So let's take a closer look at the case of this watch. It has kind of a cushion shaped case, which means that the lug-to-lug will be quite short, but it also is also very thick. On the side it is fully brushed, and on the top it is polished, and on the very top it's hard to see, but right here it is brushed again. I really like the lines on this. It kind of have a line here, and then it smoothly goes up to the top with the polish. So it's quite a beautiful case in my opinion. And if you look on this side, it's quite similar, just with the crown, which you can see has the Jour logo. No crown guards on this watch. That's something to be aware of. I think I like that with the design. I think it looks pretty good. I think this case is pretty beautiful, but it is a little thick, so it appears quite chunky. I will show you how it looks on the wrist pretty soon, but it is quite chunky, unfortunately. You can also see that the bracelet here will make it wear a little bigger. Looks like it's only 48, but the bracelet does build a little more, and the bracelet itself is very, very thick. If you take a look at the case back, I'll open up this clasp. You can see it is quite a cool case back with this hammerhead shark. Focus. There we go, hammerhead shark. It says Jour Hammerhead. Around there is some text. It is 200 meters water resistant. So that is pretty good. It is a dive watch with a GMT function, so it does have really good water resistance. So the movement in this watch is a Sellita SW330, which is a GMT movement. We can unscrew the crown here. The action on the crown is really, really good. The winding is really smooth. It's not like an ETA, so it's very, very smooth, but it almost like feels like it's not winding because there's very little friction. But it is smooth at least. If you take it out, we can set the date, and now I'm setting the GMT hand, but you set the GMT hand by screwing up, and you set the date by screwing down. Take it all the way, we set the rest with the GMT hand, obviously, so you need to set the time first and then set the GMT hand. Action on the crown is really, really good, and it screws into place very easily. So that is very, very nice. So if we go back to the bracelet, as I said, it is quite thick. It builds pretty big, which makes the watch wear a little larger than it is. And the clasp is, terrible. This watch is $1,280 US. This clasp feels like $2. Like, this is terrible. It's pretty standard stamp clasp, but you would expect a lot better on a watch for almost $1,300. It does have the Jour logo. Other than that, it is very, very plain. You can also see on the inside, like, this is what it looks like. This watch is brand new. Like, it looked like this when I got it. Doesn't really matter. But for $1,300, I would expect a better clasp. And it's not just the clasp that lets this bracelet down. It is quite wobbly, and overall just not a great bracelet. It also has pins and not screws. And generally this bracelet is terrible. If you buy this watch, I think buy it for the watch, not for the bracelet. Put it on something else. It also, as I said, is so thick that it makes the watch just so much more chunky. So I'm really disappointed with the bracelet, but the watch itself I think is really, really nice. I will do a little wrist shot for you. So it's not sized for me right now, but you will get an idea of what it will look like. This is on my wrist. As you can see, the watch itself is fine, but the bracelet makes it build really big, which makes it, in my opinion, too big for me. And it's a chunky watch, quite thick, and overall I think it's probably too big for me, so be aware of that. This watch is really chunky. If you want to buy it, be aware. And the bracelet is what's really lets it down. So as I said, the price for this watch, $1,280 US. Is it worth it? I think no, it's not. Buy this pre-owned if you want one. They will not be that expensive pre-owned, because I think it's a great watch in here. Like, the actual watch is good. You have a good movement with a GMT complication, good ceramic bezel, very unique dial, decent lume. Everything here, the finishing is pretty good, but what really lets it down is this bracelet, which feels like crap. Really, it's not good. I am very disappointed with this bracelet, and I wish that it had a better bracelet. I would rather pay $1,500 for this watch with a good bracelet than $1,280 with this. And the rest of the watch I think is really good, and if you can pick this up pre-owned at probably like half price, I'd say it's a good deal. You're getting a lot of watch for your money. But for full retail, I personally would not recommend buying this watch unless you really like it. So that is my review of the Jour Hammerhead GMT. I think it has an original design. It's very beautiful, and I think it's a good watch. I think the bracelet is terrible, and it's not quite worth the price tag. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this watch. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Here is another video if you want to watch more. And yeah, thanks again. Goodbye.